The event of Karbala, rich with profound lessons of sacrifice and faith, holds immense significance for us. It prompts our people to devote millions of man-hours to listening to the related episodes and to spend millions of dollars for this purpose, all without anyone compelling them. This event must be retold exactly as it occurred and without the least amount of distortion. But we have introduced thousands of distortions in retelling the narrative of Ashura. And these distortions are called tahrif, and they occur both in the outward form, meaning the episodes and details of the events, and in their interpretation and meaning. Sometimes a distorted version has some resemblance to the original. However, there are times when distortion is so thorough that the corrupted version bears no resemblance to the original, and in fact, it becomes the opposite of what it is supposed to be. And with utmost regret, it must be said that the misrepresentations carried out by us have degraded the event of Karbala, making it almost ineffective in our lives. For example, there is a story of an event during a sermon of Imam Ali that foreshadowed the events of Karbala. They say that one day Imam Ali was delivering a sermon from the minbar. Suddenly, Imam Hussain said, "I'm thirsty." Imam Ali said, "Let someone bring water for my son." The first person to get up was a little boy, Hazrat Abbas. He went out, got a jar of water from his mother, and returned carrying the jar on his head, with water spilling from the sides. When the Imam's eyes fell on the scene, tears flowed from his eyes. He was asked why he was crying, and he explained that the ordeals his young son would face came to his mind. Now, there are a few reasons this cannot be true. Imam Ali only spoke from the minbar and delivered sermons during his caliphate. Hence, the episode must have occurred in Kufa. At that time, Imam Hussain was about 33 years old. Is it sensible for a man of 33 to suddenly say in a formal gathering, "I am thirsty"? If an ordinary man did such a thing, it would be considered rude. Moreover, Hazrat Abbas was not a child at that time, but a young man of at least 15 years. Such a story detracts from the dignity of Imam Hussain alayhi salam by ascribing a false and childish act to him. Another distorted story involves a messenger who brought a letter for Imam Hussain and awaited a reply. So the Imam told him to come after 3 days. When the messenger returned, he saw the Imam, together with other Hashimis, seated on splendid chairs. Camels bearing litters draped in silk and brocade were brought, and the ladies emerged and were escorted into these litters with much honor. But in reality, there was no splendid chairs or silk-draped litters. Instead, the Imam's departure was marked by simplicity and humility, reflecting the true spirit of his mission. Does the greatness of Imam Hussain lie in sitting on golden chairs, or in the simplicity of his actual departure? Another example of tahrif is the famous story of Hazrat Layla, the mother of Hazrat Ali Akbar, which is unsupported by any historical work. While Hazrat Ali Akbar had a mother named Layla, no historical work states she was present at Karbala. Despite this, many tales about Hazrat Layla and Hazrat Ali Akbar exist, including the story of Hazrat Layla's arrival at Hazrat Ali Akbar's side at his martyrdom. It is also said that as Hazrat Ali Akbar leaves for the battlefield, the Imam says to Hazrat Layla, "I have heard from my grandfather that God answers a mother's prayers for the sake of a child. So go into a solitary tent, unfurl your curls, and pray for your son. It may be that God will bring our son safe back to us." First of all, there was no Hazrat Layla in Karbala to have done that. Secondly, this was not Imam Hussein's logic and way of thinking. Imam Hussein's logic on the day of Ashura was the logic of self-sacrifice. All historians have written that whenever anyone asked the Imam for the leave to go to the battlefield, the Imam would at first try to delay him for a bit. But when Hazrat Ali Akbar asked for permission, he gave it right away. We have attributed several companions to Hussain ibn Ali that he did not have, such as Jaffer, the jinn. The story of Jaffer, the jinn, tells of a king of jinns named Jaffer, who heard on the day of Ashura that an army had surrounded Imam Hussain and wanted to kill him. So he came to assist Imam Hussain with his army of jinn, but he was too late, and the Imam's martyrdom had already occurred. This story, like the others, has no basis in historical fact and serves only to distort the true narrative of Ashura. It introduces these fantastical elements that detract from the real human sacrifices made by Imam Hussain and his companions. A worse fabrication is the wedding of Hazrat Qasim. As you know, in the heat of the battle on the day of Ashura, the Imam shortened his prayers because there was no respite even to offer full prayers. In fact, two of the companions of the Imam came to stand in front of him to shield the Imam against the arrows so that he may offer these 2 rakahs. The 2 of them fell from the injuries inflicted under the shower of the arrows. The enemy would not even give the respite for these 2 rakahs. Nevertheless, they have concocted a story that the Imam called for a wedding ceremony on this day, declaring, "It is my wish to see one of my daughters wedded to Qasim." By God, see what kind of things they have attributed to a man like Hussain ibn Ali, things the like of which we sometimes hear from persons of ordinary character, who express a wish to see the wedding of their son or daughter in their life. And this is said to have occurred at a time when there was hardly any respite, even for offering prayers. One of the things that has become an inseparable part of our traditional gatherings of mourning is the wedding of Qasim, the boy bridegroom. But this story is totally fictitious and not mentioned in any reliable historical book. It is our sacred duty to preserve the true essence of the event of Karbala. When we strip away distortions and fabrications, we uncover the true heroism, sacrifice, and unwavering faith of Imam Hussain and his companions. And by doing so, we allow the purity of their message to shine through, inspiring us to live with integrity, courage, and compassion.